At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Hi, howdy, hello, and welcome to yet another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. On tonight's edition, we will be talking about the 29th episode of the 14th season of Pokemon. That's Black and White if you're keeping score at home. And this episode is entitled A Cottonee in Love, an episode that will either leave you love-struck or with a cotton mouth. You'll have to decide once we're finished. So, joining me on this adventure first is my usual co-host for these fantastic little adventures, the man who just kind of drifts on the breeze. It's Professor Chris G. How are you doing tonight, sir?
It's going to leave you with cottonmouth, Doug?
Hey, look. I'm not saying anything. I'm just, it's just what I written down as, you know, however you interpret it is that's on you. I can't, you know, I'm not responsible for that.
No, never doing that again during a podcast. For people that have heard that podcast, never doing that again. But yeah, I'm not the only one here today, Doug.
Yes, we have the privilege to once again be joined by our premium Patreon subscriber. It's Mr. Grant. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. That's probably one of my better intros in the couple of weeks that I've been doing them. So, you know.
All right.
I have no idea how many F-bombs are dropped at the beginning of this podcast as he's trying to kind of get his groove going with doing these intros these past few weeks.
It's your fault.
It is. I just kind of threw it on you one day. Hey, you wanna do the intros now, Doug?
No.
I'm kind of worn out.
No, I was fine with that. You were like, hey, do you want to do the intros? Oh, by the way, I'm also changing my name.
Yes. I'm not Wrestling Chris G no more. I'm Professor Chris G. I mean, we don't do a wrestling podcast anymore.
Yeah, well, I still want to see your credentials.
Professor never needs to show his credentials.
Well,
I just put on the lab coat.
Have you ever been in a professor's office? He's got like 17 diplomas on the wall.
Well, I have 2, and they're right behind me. I don't know how much credit they hold, but they're good enough.
Pieces of paper.
So how is everybody doing here today? Grant, welcome back.
Thank you. Doing great. Like, just, you know, making it through.
How's the weather by you? Because over out here, it is cold. It is. It is dropped down to the 30s and 40s, and I am not like it.
Yep. That's same here. Cold. It's just starting to snow, and I'm like, wow, can it please go to can we at least get past November? And
you're already getting snow. I know it flurried out in Chicago yesterday. And it was all over the news
here.
Yeah, I was like, we didn't get it over by us, but over in Chicago, I guess they got a few flurries. And man, I am not ready for this weather because as of next week, we're going to be back in the 60s and 70s. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Yeah. I mean, they were telling us that this winter is going to be a real cool one. It's going to get down into the negatives quite low. I'm like, lovely.
Yeah.
I love just walking outside and just being in pain.
Yeah.
and what's gonna suck even more, I'm one because I have an older home, and I mean we did a lot of renovations here and stuff, but for the pipes and stuff, when it gets down that cold, we gotta leave the faucets kind of trickling, so no pipes freeze. And man, I am not ready for that yet. Oh my goodness, yeah. I'm not ready for that.
Oh, that would drive me crazy.
Oh yeah,
just having to have like a constant like little trickle going.
Yep, just doop, doop, doop. And it has to go with the shower and the faucet in the bathroom. Everything else seems fine, but last year we had some frozen pipes, and that was no fun. Oh man, it took like 2 days to thaw those out. Jeez. Man, that was not fun. But people are not here to listen to that. They're here to listen to us talk Pokemon. And I wanted to wait until Grant came on this episode. So Grant, do you play the Pokemon games each time they come out? Are you going to buy Scarlet and Violet when it comes out?
Absolutely. I already got them pre-ordered.
Same here. And did you see the new Pokemon? What was it? What is it called?
Burgerath?
No, not Burgerath. Oh, I saw Burgerath. The Diglett's new cousin. Wiglet.
I saw it, but I didn't watch the trailer for it. But I did see the memes, and I'm going, oh. But then I saw the one they just released with that one girl. It was like super Japanese.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, because she had those Magnemite like hair pieces, but I wasn't. Yeah, and I was like, is that the Pokemon or is that just a style? Like,
I think it was just a style. I follow this YouTuber. I think his name is like Jason X or Play It Again Jason or something like that. And he was I was watching him live as he was watching this video, and he was doing a live reaction, and he's like, I don't know what those things are. He's like, I don't think those are Magnemites, but because they kept like detaching from her head, but then kept going back, but then it also didn't have the full Magnemite body. So I don't know. Maybe we're getting a new version of Magnemite in the new game. I don't know. I know she's the electric gym leader.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. So that's cool. Because I didn't finish that video either. Every time I start to watch it, I get sidetracked.
Yeah, she's apparently the electric gym leader in Scarlet and Violet. And this new Pokemon, Wiglet is his name. I don't know. It feels kind of lazy, and I don't want to say like what I really think of Wiglet. Doug, go on Google right now and just type in Pokemon Wiglet, Wigglet.
But don't go too far down the list, because I guarantee you're going to see. There's already jokes about that with Diglett. So like
Wigglet.
And I want as soon as you see this Pokemon, what it looks like.
Oh dear. Wow.
So you know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want to say exactly what I'm thinking in my head.
I want to see. I want to see evolutions. I want to see how they're going to get themselves out of it.
There's going to be 3 of them.
Yeah. Apparently, it is said that this is the cousin of Diglett. It's not a Diglett, and it's not a different form of Diglett. It is a cousin of Diglett.
A cousin of Diglett.
Yes.
Right.
What does a cousin mean in Pokemon terms? Like Minum and Plusle? Like,
Maybe.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I heard, actually, I was introduced to Wiglet by listening to another podcast, and they were talking about it. I was like, oh, I didn't hear anything about Wiglet. So I looked it up and I was like, oh gosh. And then I was like, yeah, same like Doug. I want an evolution. I want to know what happens when it goes to level 35. Yeah. Like now. But
I'm going to back away from that one.
I'm very curious on what the Pokédex is going to be for Scarlet and Violet, because we are getting close, and by the time that this episode hits the free feed, we should be either the week of or the week before Scarlet and Violet come out. So, I mean, we'll have a little bit more of an idea. I want to know how big of a Pokédex we are getting with Scarlet and Violet. And
like new?
Yeah, like new. I want a new national dex of this region, and with it being the first, I'm putting in quotations, open world Pokemon game, because I thought Arceus was pretty open world, but they said they're taking it to a whole new level in Scarlet and Violet. So
it seems because like with Sword and Shield and then this Arceus, they keep making these small jumps of improvements, and I think this is like the next big step to like a bigger Pokemon game. Because I know they were trying to do the online play in Sword and Shield, but it quite wasn't there. It was just scratching the surface, but it was very convoluted and complicated. Whereas this one, it looks like they fixed all those issues, and they're really going to jump on board with the online play, which will be fun.
Yeah, it'll be real fun. I did like the concept in Sword and Shield that if you were online, you got to see other trainers basically playing all around you, and each town that you went, them on their bikes and stuff. So that was fun. But
yeah,
I do have to say Pokemon has to be a little better at announcing these like giveaways and how to get certain Pokemon to come over. Like, I don't want to have to drive all the way down to GameStop to get a certificate to bring home, to scratch it off, to put a code in to get a Pokemon. There needs to be another way of doing this.
Go online and find someone who did it 30 times.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't seem very practical.
It's not. I mean, but if you're a shiny hunter, or if you are really looking to fill that Pokédex, I mean, you'll do it. But it's just, man, it's a headache. And I couldn't tell you. There was a shiny Zacian and a shiny is it called Zamazenta? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think it's like Zamazenta or something like that.
Yeah, Zamazenta. And I got those certificates. I didn't know these things expire, by the way. So I got it.
Oh, yeah.
And never put the code in. And when it came time for me to actually boot up the game again, when it was time to do some DLC content, the stuff was expired. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, I went all the way over there to get these damn codes, and these codes expire. What the hell?
I did that with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. They had the Mew giveaway, and I totally forgot to plug that one in.
Yeah, I forgot that, but I ended up getting Mew with the Pokeball, which I really hate that I bought that thing, because
I was going to go for the full experience. I'm like, I'm totally buying this.
No, it was awesome. And it was great. It's a good concept, but it only works with Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee. You can't play that controller on with any of the other Pokemon. Yeah, and
I would like to try to play Guitar Hero with that thing.
Oh man, that would be fun.
Yeah.
People do it. I mean,
I've played Halo with a Guitar Hero controller. It's not.
I was gonna say
it's not easy.
I was gonna say those hacks are everywhere. Like people playing games like on like DDR mats and stuff.
Maybe
the Tony Hawk Ride skateboard.
Yeah.
Maybe I will go on maybe I'll go on YouTube and and look up how to pair this thing. No. Maybe there is a way to pair it up to your Switch. I have one a non-legit Nintendo Switch, and I have a legit Nintendo Switch. So I have one where I can download. I don't
know if you should be broadcasting this stuff.
It's all my Switch already got banned, so they can't do any worse than what the fuck they already did, because my dumb butt went on the internet on a hacked Switch. So I have a Switch where I can obtain certain games that I probably shouldn't, and then I have a legit one where I'm not even touching that stuff, because have the second one get blocked, I'm gonna be MFing Nintendo all over the internet. Made me go out and buy a second one. Oh,
I mean, I've bought like 3 or 4 at this point.
maybe I don't want you to go out and get me a Switch if it's going to end up falling off of a fucking truck or something.
I'll get you one. No, yours will be a legit one. I'm not gonna hack your Switch.
Try to go on the internet minding my own business, and then I got the fucking FBI pounding down my door. I'd snitch you out faster than I could say my own name.
I didn't do this. He lives at this address. He has a couple kids, and he has a wife, and he's normally outside at this time mowing the grass. And you might be able to catch him right now.
Here's his phone number. Here's her phone number.
Pounding on my door. But yeah, all right, everybody. So you guys ready to get on into this week's episode? That was a nice little ramble beforehand, but we got it. We got this episode that we're about to do. Are you both ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people, if they've been following along with us, they know if we ramble before the episode, that means the episode was an episode.
It is a filler episode, everybody, but it is a little enjoyable. So I mean, as we've said in the past,
it's a little. It's all right.
As we've said in the past, it's more fun to review these episodes than to just sit down with your children and just watch it and have your children go, okay, now that it's over, can I watch something else?
Character development.
Yes.
It's all character development.
So we start this week's episode with everybody's favorite Pokemon, Scraggy. And Scraggy is just, he's jumping up and he's like, yeah, I'm ready. And Ash is like, Scraggy, headbutt. And then we find out that he's battling Axew, and Axew goes and dodges this attack, and then it uses Scratch and tries to go on in, and my video just stopped. Doug, take it over for me. Take it over.
So Axew hits Scraggy with a scratch, and then Iris has Axew follow that up with Dragon Rage, and as we saw, what was it, last episode or a couple episodes back, Axew's kind of got a handle on that now, and
it looks superb.
He's really got it down, and poor Scraggy just catches it square in the face.
And I feel bad for Scraggy, because Scraggy just took it and he's like, wait, what? You're going to let her use Dragon Rage? And Ash didn't even say anything along the lines of dodge or anything. Like, I felt bad for Scraggy. And it looks like Pikachu did too.
Yeah, because it wasn't like, well, like you said, it wasn't dodge. It was just, I guess he's using Dragon Rage. And like Ash he's standing there and he's kind of got like this this kind of dumb look on his face. He's kind of scratching his head like, well, that just happened. It's like, well, but you just served your Pokemon up to get fucking Dragon Rage. And Ash is just like, well, damn. And Pikachu's like, well, that's just unfortunate.
So, and then we get a big, huge gust of wind out of nowhere, and it just starts blowing very, very harshly. And then we see a Cottonee just float on over and just floats right in front of Ash. Drops down right on top of Scraggy, and then we get the theme song. I'm still not used to this damn thing.
Still don't like it.
Did you ever notice the part where Pikachu, like, Pat Rat goes up for that high five and Pikachu just ejects him?
No.
Every single time.
No, I don't stick around long enough to catch that.
It's pretty funny.
Oh, yes, I do see it. Aaron Packrat is like, he's like, hey, Pikachu. Pikachu's like, nah. He just runs right by him. I hope that Pat Rat comes back in a future episode and just owns Pikachu.
Well, they've run into a few Pat Rat before. I mean, you'd think they could have at least thrown that in as a little Easter egg. It's like, for those who pay attention.
Pat Rat does not like Pikachu. But, all right. So we got the title, Cottonee in Love, and then we finally get the narrator who says Nimbasa City is the next step in Ash's path, but we're not there yet.
No, and we won't be for a while.
For our traveling hero.
No. Yeah, at least for the next 3 episodes. Yeah, we're not going to be there for a while. Holy crap.
Yeah,
all right.
Shit.
But Grant, are you following along with us as well?
Yeah.
All right. So if you would like, with when Ash is like, "Whoa, who is that?
Who's that Pokemon?" It's Cottonee. Ash, that is a Cottonee. And he's got to whip out Dexter, and Dexter's like, yep, that's a Cottonee. It's a cotton puff, shoots cotton to distract its opponent when it's attacked and travels around wherever the wind is blowing. And Scraggy's kind of pissed off. He's like, you sat on my face. And then Scraggy's like, I want to fight. And then Cottonee just throws like cotton in his face. And
well, how mad would you be? You just got dragon raged in the face, and then now you're getting cotton all over you. I'd be mad too.
See, under circumstances, Cottonee will gather in large groups and then happily pair up.
So, Doug?
So, then we kind of get Silent in teacher mode, and he's kind of telling us about like the mating rituals of Cottonee and how they'll tend to like drift together and, you know, travel and
it's like a big singles get together.
And you know, Iris catches on right away. She's like, it's like a singles get together, and
guess you could say
they play. This really started. I forgot about how pissed off I was about this part. Ash is 10, but in this episode in particular, they play him like he's 5, because he's like, oh well, you know, everybody likes a buddy to travel with, and then, you know, all that does is leave him wide open for Iris to kick him in the nuts and go, oh, buddy, what a kid, you wouldn't understand. It's like,
you just hate it every single time that Iris goes, oh, you're such a kid.
Because there's no fucking point to it.
You hate that line, and you hate I mean, not Iris. His
Silent.
name is
Silent.
Silent. There you go. And you hate Silent's food puns.
Yes, because food is not a personality. We'll get to that next week. Good night.
So Silent is looking up on his little. I guess his version of Dexter or his little think pad, and he's looking for. He's like, He's like, let me see.
You're such a little kid.
And then all of a sudden it just pings. So he's like, oh, I thought so. Rainbow Valley is close to where we are right now, and it's a quite popular spot, and it's a famous spot known for its rainbows and a well-known diamond breeze.
It's a famous spot known.
And he's like, the glorious winds that sparkle when the wind blows. He's like, it's also known for the place where Cottonee pair up and hop on this diamond breeze. So that's where we're going in this episode. So they talk to Cottonee. Cottonee kind of seems a little down on its luck, but it seems determined. But Scraggy is over here. We get another Cottonee that just ends up blowing over in the wind. And Grant, go ahead and take it from here, my brother.
So this other Cottonee comes on over, and then the first Cottonee is like getting embarrassed and blushing, and they're trying to figure out why, and they're like, oh, that's why. He's trying to, heart to heart time. They need to do their make love or whatever. They
need to pair up.
Yeah.
Gotta find a buddy.
Yeah, find that buddy. Confess your true innermost feelings.
Yeah, so they kind of shoo Cottonee over, and Cottonee goes over to this other Cottonee, and Silent's like, all right, let's wait for the results. And Cottonee's like, yeah. And then the girl Cottonee, which goes over and just gives him the shoulder. And it's just like, no. And then out of nowhere does a razor leaf attack on the Cottonee. And the first Cottonee is like, wait, what? And then just gets blasted in the face. And Silent kind of makes a side note here. And it's like, she's probably testing him out to see how good he will be in battle. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, Doug.
And so, yeah, come on. I'm appreciative that Amazon made this move, but their processing could be a little quicker. So basically, they give a play-by-play of this little back and forth that the love-struck Cottonee and the object of his affection have, and he basically gets his ass handed to him.
Yes,
and
that's it.
That had to be a snub.
And Iris is like, well, if you're asking me, that was the cold shoulder. And
You're so.
And Silent's like, well, yep. And we go over, and poor Cottonee is crying, and he's dejected, and he's dirty from the battle. And
You okay?
Ash gets down on his level, and he's like, yeah, chin up, buddy. Plenty of Cottonee in the sky, and Cottonee's not having it. And and then okay, so it's this episode. I thought it was next episode. No, it's this episode. Iris has an apple, right? And,
oh, yes.
Yeah, so it's this. I thought it was next episode for some reason. So, yeah, this episode can kind of fuck off a little bit. So Iris has an apple, and,
and she is consistently talking with her mouth full.
And she makes a good point about, no good partner is going to want to partner up with a weakling that it can easily handle in battle. And
Partner is going to say yes if you battle.
And we're doing you fine listeners a good service by not eating like Iris is, because she's got she's acting like she's got a mouthful, and
A weakling when it comes.
And it's a good point. And she's like,
you've got to be able to really show up.
When it comes to true love, you've got to be able to show off your best. And Silent's basically like, well, that's a good point if your fucking mouth wasn't full. And make a note of that, because that keeps coming fucking back.
Yes, because every single time Iris is talking, she is biting into an apple.
That should do it.
And Silent's like, stop talking with your mouth full.
And you know what pisses me off about it? Because if it was Ash doing it, she'd be like, oh, you're such a kid always eating food. But because it's her, and because she's a free spirit, and because she's a vegetarian, no, we just got to live with it because she's a woman. Fuck. Pisses me off.
So yeah, Silent's like, yeah, that's, stop talking with your mouth full. And then he's putting this Band-Aid on Cottonee, which is kind of the indicator. This is the Cottonee of the story, not all the others, so they can distinguish which Cottonee is the main character here. If you want to be in a couple, about needing to...
You want to be a couple.
They need to strong, you need to train hard. Ash is like, yeah, train hard. And Silent's like, we'll help you train hard. It'll get your confidence. What do you say, Cottonee? You want to do this? And Cottonee's like, sure, why not? And then Scraggy gets kind of pissed. He's like, Ash, what are we doing here? You want to help? Okay.
And then Scraggy comes in and he's like, well, I guess. So when he goes in to battle, he's like, all right, well, go on in there, headbutt. And Scraggy just runs right on in, and Cottonee puffs right up. And what happens to Scraggy for the second time in this episode? He gets cotton in his face.
He's not having a good time.
No, not at all. Doug?
And so, Cottonee runs away because, Cottonee's a little puffball, and Scraggy, to a Cottonee, looks giant. And then...
they did make Cottonee seem very, very big when it comes to Ash. Like, Ash came down to its level, and it's like the full chest and head of Ash. That is the size of this Cottonee.
And then, so Scraggy goes in with a headbutt, and Cottonee kind of panics, but in his panic, he uses Cotton Guard, which is basically the equivalent of headbutting a mattress, and Silent calls it out, and Ash is like, well, that's a fine move. That'll come in handy. And he's like, well, to be successful, you need to learn how to dodge. And Connie's like, all right, bet. And, and he's like, so you saw how God damn it. You saw how Scraggy was coming in, and he's like, yeah. And he's like, keep your eyes focused on your opponent and watch your opponent and watch every move. And Connie's like, bet. And then he's like, when he gets close enough, you go one side or the other. And Connie's like, I got that. And he's like, but you have to stay focused. You won't be able to dodge if you look away. And Connie's like, all right. And Scraggy goes in again, and he's going to use headbutt. And Ash is like, don't look away. And it's getting closer and closer. And then Cottonee forgets to move, and he just gets full-on speared. And he's like, you did a good job focusing on your opponent, but you forgot to move. And Cottonee's like, oh, shit. And then Ash literally goes in and does like a hands-on demonstration. And he's like using Cottonee as like a bowl, a bowl. Well, cape isn't the right. Well, yeah, I suppose, like the old age shit. And Scraggy's getting a little frustrated. He's like, "What are we doing here? You had him holding it. Let him be. I had him." And then he's like, "All right, so now you see what we're going to do. We're going to try this one more time." He sends Scraggy in for a headbutt on his own, and
this time,
yep, he dodges. And Iris is like, "Yes, finally some positive movement. Things are looking up." And Ash is like, "Damn straight." and he's like, now as a way of dodging, I want you to float upward. He sends in Scraggy for another headbutt, and Scraggy goes up, and then he goes sideways, and then he goes to the other way, and then it's just bob and weave shit. And Silent's like, Cottonee is picking this up real quick, and Iris basically says the same fucking thing. So she has nothing intelligent to say when she's not eating this episode. So make a note of that.
She's like, talk and learn fast. And she's like, do you want, and actually jumps out of her hair and is like, hey, do you want to battle too? And Axu's like, yeah, I want to go out there and battle. So from here, she's getting ready to send Axu out, and then we get Team Rocket. Grant, you want to go over Team Rocket's Master's plan for this episode?
Yeah, so Meowth is, it goes into like their binoculars watching them, and Meowth's like counting all the Cottonees. And Jesse's like, you know what, one isn't actually worth our time, but if we can catch the whole hundreds of them, it might be worth some, solid cash. And James is like, that's correct. But we can catch the horde of them by the wind, and we'll do one fell swoop, a Cottonee haul. So they're actually planning this one a little smarter, I guess. They got a pad. They're like writing notes using proper like wind coordination.
Oh, don't let him fool you. Jesse was in the background bonking the mess out of James, and he forgot that notepad like 10 times before they got to that hill.
Oh, yeah.
And then we jump back down, and we're getting the beginning of the battle of Axu and Cottonee. And Ash is like, heads up, keep your eye on Axu. And Pika's like, Pika, Pika. And then Iris is like, go in there and use Scratch Attack. And because it's like one of two moves that Axu can actually do. And Axu goes in to use Scratch, and miraculously, it's missing because Cottonee is dodging everything. And Silent's like, oh man, Cottonee looks like it's getting a lot better. And Nash is like, yeah, awesome, you're on a roll, Cottonee. And everyone's starting to cheer on Cottonee. And then we get Ash to say, okay, Cottonee, energy ball. And Cottonee does the energy ball, and it's kind of similar to Axu's, what did they used to call the dragon cough or dragon sneeze?
Dragon rage?
Dragon sneeze. They used to call dragon rage dragon sneeze, and Iris got pissed. She's like, it's not a sneeze!
So it's kind of similar to that, but like just a little less power. Cottonee is like, oh, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to hit you, and just bam, just blast out its energy ball. And then we shoot over to Iris and Axu, and they're just looking up. And imagine this, everybody, if you're not watching this with us. They just look up, they watch this little flake of a ball go, and their head does a full, 180, and they look behind them, and this little energy ball goes and flops right into the ground, showing it has no power behind it at all. It was a complete flop. And Cottonee is kind of embarrassed because it kind of scratches its head, and we get the little teardrop above the eye. It's like, yeah, my bad. And Ash comes in. He's like, not quite. Aim towards your target first and then shoot. Like Cottonee wasn't trying to shoot over at action. Yeah, I tried to throw it up in the air so it missed. Like, come on, Ash. Doug?
So, yeah, but I mean, Ash should know about Pokemon with accuracy issues because he's recently dealt with Oshawott and his I have no the name of that
Shallop.
Yeah, but he had a move and he couldn't control it, I can't remember what it was called.
Aquajet.
Aquajet. Yeah, so, I mean, he should be sympathetic. And this is when we basically get Iris saying what we just got done saying about Axu's Dragon Rage. And Axu's like, yeah, that's right. It was kind of embarrassing. And she's like, Axu, why don't you teach Cottonee kind of how I taught you? And, maybe we'll be in the same boat. And Axu's like, I could do that. And then Axu and Cottonee kind of have like a little quick like Pokemon conversation. And we see Axu do a Dragon Rage. And he's like, see how good I am? I can hit that rock. And he obliterates he gets a rock, and then he goes over to his stump. He puts a rock on that, and he's like, all right, hit this rock. And Cottonee's like, I bet. And he gets ready, and he conjures up an energy ball. And the force of his energy ball almost makes him do a complete flip. And it pardon me, it goes wide right. And like, oh shit. Everybody's like, oh damn. And Ash is an asshole. He's like, that wasn't even close. I was like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah. He's like, okay, first thing you need to do is pick your target, Cottonee, then focus, and then hold on. I want to get this freaking line because Ash is just a little butthole. He said that wasn't even close. Okay, first you need to pick your target. And then he's like, Cottonee, then focus your start to use your move and make sure you stay completely still. And he's like, mess up your aim a little bit. And Cottonee is just getting ready, and it does it, and it shoots straight, and then it hits it.
That's bullshit because he's holding him. Ash has him in his hands. He's like, all right, fire. Like, that's not going to happen in battle.
No, it's not. But then I'm going to switch this one over. Grant, you want to go over when Silent finally starts getting in this battle? Because we fast forward at least 15 minutes to another battle.
Yeah, so Silent's like, all right, now it's my turn. Dwebble, use Slash. And then Ash is like, dodge it. And that Silent uses X Scissor. And Cottonee uses Cotton Guard, and it worked. And then Cottonee uses Razor Leaf, hits Dwebble pretty hard. And Ash is like, all right, we're getting into it now. And then Silent throws that Pan Sage, and Cottonee uses Razor Leaf again. And then Pan Sage dodges, and Cottonee uses Energy Ball, hits Pan Sage, and then Cottonee gives Ash a high five. And they're like, yeah, we did it. After that kind of battling, you'll be just fine.
I have an issue with that just a little bit. And if it was anyone else's Pokemon besides Pikachu, I could understand. But Pansage is used to fighting inside of a gym. It's a legit gym Pokemon. You're training a wild Cottonee who has zero experience. He's probably at least like a level 5 or 6 if you're playing him in the video game. How the hell does Pansage not dodge that energy ball?
Plus, it's grass on grass.
Yeah, I guess. It just doesn't seem too realistic to me, just level-wise. Like, Pansage should have had more brains to kind of move away before getting hit, unless the goal was to hit it, and Pansage understood the assignment.
I was going to say, maybe Silent kind of briefed him beforehand. He's like, all right, we're trying to get this Cottonee's confidence up, and we're trying to, kind of sharpen his battling skills. How about we sit here? Maybe we go at about 60%. Maybe make sure he hits you once or twice.
Yeah, because Ash has done that in the past.
Right, and I mean, I think that's how we started the episode. We just didn't see Ash go, all right, Scraggy, kind of take it easy.
Yeah.
Although, why would Scraggy be taking it easy? Because I would think Scraggy and Axio are kind of in the same boat experience-wise. Scraggy hatched and hasn't really done much, and Axio, we're led to believe, is an infant.
Yes.
So
after that, we get another scene of Iris biting into an apple, and Iris is like, after that kind of battling, you'll be just fine. Being rejected once isn't the end of it. Just don't give up. You keep on keeping on is what she says. And she's like, and once you prove you're serious, then you're in. And Silent just jumps right in. He's like, you would think with all that talk of love will quiet down the hearty appetite of yours just a teensy little bit. And she's like, well, when you think of love and romance, I eat. So Silent then comes back and he's like, all right, let's go and find that other Cottonee and get you all paired up. And Ash is like, wait, think it already went to Rainbow Valley? Ash goes, and they're like, no. He's like, the Diamond Breeze usually blows through Rainbow Valley right after a full moon, so I think we're in a good shape. They're like, of course, the moon wasn't out yet. Sorry, they're going pretty fast with this. And then Ash is like, then let's get there on the double. And Scraggy is like, yeah. Pikachu's like, yeah. And Cottonee is just kind of floating there. Ash returns Scraggy to its Pokeball. Or no. Scraggy doesn't want to return over to his Pokeball. He wants to stay out and help. And so Ash is like, right. He's like, then let's all head over to Rainbow Valley together. And then we get the Who's That Pokemon, and it's Cottonee. Grant, you want to come back after commercial break?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Cottonee. Waiting for it to go through. Okay. So Ash gets Tranquil.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. Tranquil just flies back down from the forest, and Tranquil's like, didn't see shit. And Ash is like, all right, well, that's a bummer. I don't have a clue where they went. Cottonee aren't able to fly. And then Silent goes, Cottonee aren't able to fly on their own. They rely on the wind patterns and the path of the wind. I'm sure we'll be able to find them. And
Silent says that he's going to do a wind testing system on his little computer doodad.
Yes. And it looks like a Nintendo DS.
It really does.
I mean, yeah, that's a Nintendo DS if I've ever seen one.
And Iris puts her finger in the air and she's like, okay, let's go ahead and test out which direction the wind is going. And she puts her finger up and she's like, the winds are from the south. And Silent's like, now if I calculate it, he's like, that means that it's southern wind blows. So Iris got it before Silent did, and all she did was stick her little finger up in the air. Doug?
So then we go over, we find out that the winds are blowing towards the mountains. So, our heroes kind of have, their marching orders. Then we go back over to Team Rocket. Jessie's using her Woobat to track the Cottonee, much like Ash was using his Tranquil. And he's like, were you able to locate the Cottonee? And Woobat's like, nope, couldn't do it. And James is like, well, we do have this gadget, and it's kind of like a couple of like mini box drill. Well, it's I would say a handful of like mini box drones.
Yes.
And they go off into the sky. And then we cut back over to Ash and the crew, and Silent is still tracking the winds with his not quite DS. And
the knockoff.
Ash is like, well, this shit isn't easy. And then off in the background, we see Iris and Axu pop out of a tree, and she's like, don't you know reading the winds is complicated? She's such a... Anyway. And...
Don't say that, Doug.
I didn't say it. I stopped myself. And she licks her finger and sticks it out again. And she's like, well, over here the winds are coming from the west. And she's like, you can tell by the way the clouds are moving. And she's like, the north winds are blowing through that part of the forest, and she points off into the distance. And Silent's like, northwest winds mean only one thing. And she's like, Silent says, the winds are all coming together at the foot of the mountains. And Ash is like, all right, bet. And they take off. And then we cut back to Team Rocket, and James is tracking the little drone devices with his tablet. Cleverly branded with a sleek letter R, so just in case it ever gets lost or anything.
Please return to Team Rocket.
And then he's looking at the moisture and the temperature readings, and he's basically acting like a amateur meteorologist. He's like, this is the wind direction and the speed, and Jesse's like, okay, so what does all this mean? And James is like, oh, I'm getting there. And
this device is handy.
I'm telling you,
like this.
Black and White Team Rocket is like fucking night and day from Anto Team Rocket. And I mean, that's putting it lightly.
More like Black and White.
And so, yeah, basically, Team Rocket comes to the same conclusion that our heroes did. And then we do a cut, and it's nighttime, and our heroes are coming up to a field full of
Cottonee. And
everybody's like, oh my God.
Silent's like, oh, we finally found it. And then Silent, I don't know how, but Silent, out of this field of like 100 Cottonee, looks over and he's like, oh, there's your Cottonee. And he's like, okay, go and do your best over there. And
I can tell you how he did it.
How'd he do it?
There's only 6 minutes left in the episode. That's why.
Well, this guy its hair all did.
For real.
Cottonee went to the salon. It's got the curls.
It does. Looks like a girl. And it's probably the only one out there. Wouldn't it have been some mess 6 minutes left in this episode, but we see Cottonee go over there and it's with this jumbo size Cottonee and it's paired up with it, and now this little Cottonee has to win her love. I think
the old go Cottonees.
I'm a little surprised they didn't do that, because, I mean, that would have at least given Cottonee a chance to show off his battling skills.
Yeah, for real. So Cottonee, and then it's at this point, Iris has another apple in her hand. And she looks over at Cottonee and she's like, go show off some fire in your heart. And she's, after all, we're talking about love here, aren't we? And Silent's like, this isn't martial arts, And Iris is like, all's fair in love and war. And Sana's like, somehow your blend of eating and talking about love doesn't have quite the right flavor. So there's his food pun of the episode, because he has to get one in. I'm surprised he didn't get like 4 of them in with as many times she's been eating this apple.
I would have skipped this episode, I'll tell you that much for free.
So Cottonee goes over to this other Cottonee, the girl Cottonee, and Silent is like, oh, it's heart-to-heart time, 2nd edition. And Cottonee is trying to get the love of this girl Cottonee. And then who would come out of the blue and start blowing and sucking all these Cottonees up but good old Team Rocket. Grant, go ahead and tell everybody what Team Rocket is up to.
So Team Rocket has this like big machine, like any other episode, where it just has a giant net and catches all the Cottonee, and it kind of closes it up. And they're laughing, they're thinking they got away with it, and Ash is like, what are you guys up to? And Team Rocket, they go on with the motto,
Yeah, they do their little motto. It's a different type of motto this time. This time, because it seems like every week that we do Black and White now, they're coming up with a new version of their motto. I'm not going to say this motto each time they come up with a new one. They're basically saying the team that they're Team Rocket, and Iris is like, oh, Team Rocket. Silent's like, how dare you take all these Cottonee? And Meowth is like, we're going to blow you off, so keep your tie on. And then he turns the fan over to Silent, Iris, and Ash and just blows them to the ground, and then takes off in the big jumbo fan, and Pikachu goes in to use Thunderbolt on this big old fan, and it blows up. I'm surprised that they let that thing blow up this episode. Because why did
so quickly?
Yeah, because why didn't Team Rocket get it like rubberfied or whatever they normally get that doesn't conduct electricity when it's hit or blows up like any of their other items?
Well, you see, they used all their intelligence in tracking the Cottonee, so they weren't able to use any intelligence in actually building the machine.
Fair.
Even though this Team Rocket is about 1,000 times better than Kanto Team Rocket, it's still Team Rocket, and there is still only 4 minutes left in the episode.
Yes.
So yeah, basically, Ash sends Tranquil out, and Tranquil uses air cutter on the bag that's holding all the Cottonee. And like you said, it's a weak bag. It's basically, I'm choosing to think of it as the equivalent of a hefty bag. And so it gets it's sliced, even though Team Rocket's like, oh, but we were prepared.
No, well, I don't think the Tranquil really sliced the bag. I think all of the Cottonee on the inside just puffed up with cotton, and it just couldn't hold it anymore. So all the cotton just spewed out from all the Cottonee on the inside of this bag.
Oh, well, that is a weak bag then, if they're getting beat up by cotton.
For real.
But so, and the machine that they're driving heads right into a boulder, and it crashes, and you think, oh my god, Team Rocket's dead, and we're not even at the 30th episode of the season. But no, they come out of the explosion and they have jetpacks, so they're not blasting off, like they're doing the blasting. And James is like, oh shit, we were so close, and like, oh, you're gonna get it next time, and then they leave, and Ash is like, damn right, and Pikachu's like, yup, and Scraggy's there, and
Cottonee falls right back down into Ash's hand.
And he's like, are you okay? And then once again, we're able to pick Cottonee's preferred target straight out of a lineup. And
because there she is again, the only one not paired up.
And Cylon's like, well, now's as good a time as any. Why don't you just go over there and speak with your heart? And Iris is like, be confident. And they're kind of silently cheering on Cottonee. And Cottonee's like, how's some shit? And then a couple like, dudes come over and they're like, that was so brave. You're so cool with your bandage. And
let me point out that those other Cottonee left their boyfriends or the other male Cottonee to come over to this Cottonee to try to win its love and to do their mating thing with him. Even though none of these Cottonee were showing him the light of day or anything before this.
So a couple of Cottonee kind of fling our Cottonee and have a little bit of an impromptu battle, and they try to use like a razor leaf, and Cottonee counters with counter, and they're cheering him on. They're like, all right, he picked up what we taught him, and the Cottonee that he's interested in is kind of seeing as like, oh, that's an improvement. And
then
our Cottonee
starts using razor leaf.
And then he shoots out a perfectly aimed energy ball and knocks them both down. And, everybody's celebrating like he basically won, and then
he won the Super Bowl.
And then, of course, there's like 3 minutes left in the episode, and Cylon's got one final line. He's like, "That's a taste of brilliance," and
that was a good line.
That was fine. I'll give him that one, but it's still bullshit. And then the Cottonee that he's interested in, you can kind of see her eyes are getting glassy because she's kind of tearing up, and she's looking over and seeing how happy our Cottonee is, and then he turns and they meet eyes, and she gets all shy and she blushes and she's like, oh shucks, and he comes over, and then we see a little heart come together, and
they're in love.
Then freaking
we're back
Cylon basically
with our trio and Iris. What is that? Because that's not an apple that she has this time. What is that?
She has an
Iris has
that almost looks like a peach.
Yes.
It's an orange berry. I don't know.
Yeah, orange berry. We'll call it orange berry. And then from here, we just see the Cottonee start floating up with the breeze that's going on. And we all say goodbye to these Cottonee. And then from here, we get one final scene. And Grant, do you want to end this week's episode with what happens in this final scene?
Yeah, so Ash and the gang make it up the mountain, and they find the waterfall in Rainbow Valley. They're just in awe. It's just amazing. Pikachu agrees. And then the sun just starts to shine right behind them. And with the sun, it makes the rocks all kind of glimmer in a rainbow form. And it's a very pretty sight. I mean, this is...
If this was a real place, I would go there.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, this is like Skittles Taste of Rainbow.
So, and from here, we have all the Cottonee starting to blow up in the diamond breeze. And then Ash goes and sets out Scraggy to check out everything. And Scraggy's like, yeah. And he's like, let's say goodbye to the Cottonee. They're in love. And all the Cottonee are flying away. They're all paired up. And it's magical. It's like a scene out of Disney. You have all the sparkling diamond lighting. And you have Ash, Silent, and Iris and Scraggy running with the Cottonee. And the narrator is kind of taking us out of this episode, and they're like, yeah, new life is ahead for all these Cottonee, and of course our hero's own and journey to Nimbasa City will continue. And then we end the episode. Great episode to review. I feel like we got a lot more out of it than just watching it the first time.
Yeah.
Less frustrating watching it with people than watching it with just by myself.
Yes. 100%. But all right. That was this week's episode, everybody. And normally I throw it over to Doug, but I want to know, Grant, on your meter out of 5, what would you end up giving this filler episode on your scale?
I give it a 2. I feel we already had this story with Butterfree. Only, it's literally the same one. So.
All right, Doug.
Yeah. I mean,
You're conflicted.
I really am. Part of me wants to give it a 1.5 just because I was so frustrated with all the Iris and Apple stuff. But I mean, that would mean that it was borderline unwatchable. And I mean, it was watchable. So I think I'm going to fall in behind Grant and give it a 2 as well.
I'm going to give it a 2 as well. I mean, there was no, if we would have seen an evolution happen in this episode or something.
If Ash would have
caught one of the Cottonee.
Yeah.
Or one Cotton Eye Joe reference.
Yes. But nothing. And we had to listen to I swear the person that was doing Iris's voice literally bit into an apple as she was saying these lines, because it was just too spot on, and it annoyed the mess out of me every time she was talking. But I did kind of have to snicker each time. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 2. There was no advancement. There was no storyline advancement either. Like, you can literally miss this episode and maybe the next episode as well. You could definitely miss the next one and not miss anything in the series. Which, by the way, I have a gripe that I'm going to throw out there to everybody. And I know by the time you hear this, it's already going to be weeks down the line. But Pokemon Journeys. I have been watching Master Journeys every single week. Why do they feel the need? I just watched the tournament, and this latest episode that they just dropped was basically going through and analyzing the battles from a third party as to what happened in the previous episode that I just watched. Like, oh my gosh. And we're finally going to get the start of Leon versus Ash on this next episode. But man, it's taking so long to get here. It has been 4 weeks. 4 weeks and 3 episodes before we even get over to this battle with Leon. Like, we need to hurry up and get to this battle and get to this show.
I might say it's been 20 years.
For real? Yes. But, Grant, while we have you, because we don't normally get to ask these type of questions, I want to throw out there what you think this season of Pokemon really means in Master Journeys, because even if you haven't been watching it, I know you've been hearing about that this might be Ash's final season. Do you think that they're finally going to write Ash off at the end of Master Journeys?
I think they will because of different factors. One, if you follow along with Dragon Ball and One Piece, the other long as hell animes, they are also ending. And Netflix picked up Pokemon, so there is talks of like a live action like Pokemon show on Netflix. And I think they're just going to try to end this one and start that one up. Because I feel that's what they're going to do, but Pokemon's a little more cautious than like some other things. Like I think right now, because they're working on ending this, because on general Nintendo, they just announced that Super Mario movie, so I think they're going to wait on that and then pop up with Pokemon. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. Doug, because you've been hearing me ramble for months on this anime, so you kind of know through me, and maybe if you've Google searched anything, or if it's come up in your news feed, what do you think? Do you think that they're ending this, Doug?
Well, no, I mean, first and foremost, I put you on mute when you start going off on one. So I mean,
stop it.
I mean, everything kind of reaches a natural conclusion. I mean,
well, we still got The Simpsons.
You know, he. Well, this is true, but I think, and I'm starting to get weary that if it gets to the point where some of these main voices start, aging out. I mean, a couple of them are already in their 70s.
Well, we already have a new voice for Ash.
That was because years ago too.
Yeah, Veronica Taylor no longer voices Ash anymore.
So, I mean, just because you're ending, Ash's arc, his story, however you want to phrase it, doesn't mean you have to end Pokemon. I mean,
No. Pokemon itself is not ending. This particular Ash's journey might end.
We've been on Pokemon.com, looking through some of the shorts they put up, and, just kind of looking for ideas for little side projects so we don't, like, burn ourselves out on the main timeline stuff.
Yes.
I mean, they've done, like, Pokemon adventures and stuff where it's, like, Pokemon-centric. I mean, I could, even going back to the episode where the trainers and the Pokemon get separated on the island.
Yep.
And, we have to use, translations for the Pokemon, obviously. I'd watch a series of that.
I might. I mean, but then you're kind of turning it into Digimon a little bit. If we go down that route.
I mean, but it might be inevitable.
I would totally watch like a crime drama of like Nurse Joy and Officer Ginny, like a doctor drama, crime drama thing.
Or I could be into that. Pikachu into an anime, like crime fighting type anime. I mean, they can even go down that route. I mean, I've been reading conflicting reports on whether Detective Pikachu is getting an actual sequel or not. Have you heard anything else, Grant, in regards to Detective Pikachu getting its sequel movie?
Well, I heard something about the sequel game, so I think they were talking about that, but I'm not sure
on the movie.
Yeah, because I think they're gonna pop the game before they pop a movie, unless they just go straight into the movie, which they could very well do.
Yeah. Or they can release both around the same time to get all the hype out. But
well, yeah, there's that too.
So my takeaway, with me watching Pokemon Master Journeys, my hypothesis is I think they're getting everyone used to Go, Ash's new friend, and I think the show might end up revolving around Go after Ash is done, whether he wins or loses in this tournament, which I'm hoping he wins. Because if he wins, he literally has nothing else to to go after, like at all. Like Leon is the top of the top. He is the guy. He is the like way overpowered level 150 Charizard, just top of the tier. And if he beats him, what else is there for Ash to do?
Go back 3 or 4 times to level up all his other Pokemon, and then do whatever we do in the video games.
Yeah, I was going to say, do what us video game players did and just max out our entire Pokédex.
And I would hate, and I hate that I'm even about to throw this out into the universe. What if he goes back to each one of the, I guess, Pokemon leagues and does like a Pokemon League get up to where he has to win each one? Or he goes back to the Indigo or to Kanto and he goes out there to finally win the one that got away from him.
Battles all the Elite Fours.
Yeah.
I like that.
So, I don't know. There's a lot of things. I guess we'll end up finding out in about 6 weeks when this battle is over. So, but yeah, I just wanted to get...
I'm still slogging through Sun and Moon, so...
Oh, yeah, that's a season. I'll throw that out there. I tried watching Sun and Moon, but with me watching Black and White, I got like maybe 20 episodes into Sun and Moon. I was like, okay, I cannot keep up with this story right now. I was like, I'm gonna put this.
It's hard because it's not as like serial. Like you think these ones. They don't get anywhere. They don't go anywhere. They go and then come back every time.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, X and Y was tough to get through. Like the XYZ series, I was struggling, but
yeah,
the Sun and Moon one, that one.
After we're done with Black and White, before we even go any further, I'm going to do a thorough check as to which series that we should do and get some insight from Doug as well. I was like, all right. What should we continue after this? After Black and White? Or do we go to another part of the Pokemon series since we're already doing the Orange Islands, which by the time we're done with Black and White, we'll probably be done with the Orange Islands and heading over to what comes after?
Johto.
Yeah, Johto.
Johto Journeys.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see where this adventure takes us. But
there's a lot of episodes in between, so
a lot. So I want to thank you again for coming onto the podcast, Grant. It's always a pleasure having you. So I wanna take my hat off to you again. Thanks for coming on and making another fantastic episode with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always fun.
Doug, do you have any final words before we're getting ready to sign off?
Yeah, I mean, this is always a good way to spend an hour and a half, whatever, and make some of these, end of the day, do nothing episodes a lot more tolerable. So it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Other than that, I'm going to get ready to sign on out. So go ahead and say goodbye, Grant.
Goodbye.
And say goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Professor Chris G signing out, everybody, and we'll see you again next week. Have a good night, everyone.